Hey, hey. You want a little trivia to start the day?
Get it.
So, you know how there have been a decent amount of firings, really this season, with managers mid-season and then a GM just recently as well. They're all connected to one name in baseball. And he has joined us on the show somewhat recently. He's a somewhat frequent guest on FT. Do you know who it is?
Rob Manfred.
Manfred
Player?
Mondays.
Is he a player right now, currently?
Manager, former.
I mean, Buck?
Another one.
Joe
Madden. So Joe talked about this on his pod the other day. Derek Shelton was a hitting coach with him in Tampa Bay.
Bench coach
Bud Black, bench coach Davey with Cubs, and he worked with him with the Rays. Bud Black was on the Angels staff. Brandon Hyde was part of that Cubs coaching staff. And ready for the kicker, Mike Rizzo played for Joe Madden in his first manager gig. I mean, that's everyone, AJ. That's everyone that's been fired.
Pretty much. Yeah, that is. You're right.
Yeah.
It's trying to get Joe out of the game. Or it's time for Joe to come back.
Now, that might be it. Start a new web. All right, that's your trivia today, sponsored by nobody. Thank you.
That's a good one,
Code
Scott.
FOUL, if you like us. Let's
Joe
charge.
He's charging the mound.
The Miz is so legit. 12 strikeouts over 6 innings, 1 earned run in a win over the Dodgers. Ohtani got to him, but that's all, folks. He's got a 2.81 ERA, AJ. He is dealing, and it's not just the confidence, it's the command. All I remember reading about with Jacob Misiorowski for years is how they're super concerned about him consistently finding the zone and working the corners, and that's all I'm seeing from him. So he has clearly figured it out. There were labels on him that he might end up as a reliever, a dominant high leverage guy, which you totally could see, but you'd rather take what you're seeing now.
Oh, he's good. Are you kidding me? He outdueled a legend in Kershaw, gave up the leadoff homer, and then after that, 12 punchies in 6 innings? Was that what it was, I think? He was nasty. It was a fun game to watch. Brewers did just enough. Offensively, their bullpen got a little shaky at some points, but listen, Miz was real. Miz is real. If he throws it over the plate, he had the one clunker against the Mets where they jumped him early and jumped on his fastball early. But other than that, this guy's been really good, man. This kid's been good, and I'm happy to see it because on Team Poland, he's going to be the ace.
Yes. That'll be the NIT tournament that Team Poland's going to make. Or are they going to be able to qualify from now until then? We'll see. But to me, people are like, command, all this stuff. I think young pitchers need confidence. And he showed me a lot of confidence. And you gain command from confidence. He's not afraid to throw the ball in the zone to get outs, which is even more impressive because first at bat, Shohei Ohtani went deep sauce off the center field batter's eye. That'll shake your confidence because wait a minute, I got this lineup is legit. I feel like I got this guy two strikes, threw a decent pitch down in the zone, and he clipped me. But he wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid to stay in the zone. If there's a value that you can tell any young pitcher, whatever level it is, throw the ball over the plate. They will not hit it as often and as hard as you think they will. And to me, that's what he's done. He had a few shaky, he walked a few guys in a few of his starts, but you got to attack the zone no matter if it's the Dodgers or if it's the Marlins.
More trivia. Last pitcher before Miz to record 12 Ks against the Dodgers.
Corbin Burns.
I'll give you a hint. He's currently on the Dodgers.
Clayton Kershaw.
Blake Snell.
Shohei Ohtani. Cool, right?
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. Did you see what Clayton Kershaw said about Miz?
Before or after the game? Or both?
Oh, were there different quotes?
He didn't know who he was. He was like, was he the guy that like tripped and rolled his ankle. Like that's how Clayton Kershaw knew him, but Clayton Kershaw doesn't need to know him. People are throwing shade at Clayton for that. After the game, what he said was cool though. That's big respect.
Why does Clayton have to know who he is? He's been in the league forever, and what does he
Not
need to know
pitching.
about the opposing pitcher?
He's not pitching against him. He's not pitching against him. He's not facing him. He doesn't care. All he's worried about the Brewers hitters, and that was what he. Listen, Kershaw had a nice outing too. Let's not forget. I mean, he had a nice outing. You know, everyone that said Kershaw's done, Kershaw's having a nice start to this year, and he's doing all right. So let's not bury Clayton yet either.
He's always so good.
I'm with you.
Always so good. Just look at his baseball reference. There's no blips on the radar. It's unbelievable. And people are like, playoff. Save it.
Where are we at on the Brewers right now? Being that Miz is pitching like a 1. And Freddie Peralta's having a great season. He'll be at the All-Star game.
I don't know if they have enough offense to catch the Cubs, but they got a shot to make the playoffs for sure. They're definitely going to probably be in the playoffs, but I don't know if they're going to catch the Cubs just because I don't think their offense is good enough, honestly. Now, they're going to have to make some moves and maybe find a bat or two, and if they do that, we'll see. But right now, I don't think their offense – their pitching has always been a strength, and Murph and those guys figure it out. Matt Arnold and Miz, if he keeps doing this, and Freddie P, they're going to be a tough out because if you go into a 3-game series, a wild card series, and you get Peralta, Miz, and then whoever the heck they – Woody, Big Woo's back, and he's pitching good, Woodruff, that's a pretty tough threesome to deal with in a short series.
I mean, this is what we've said about the Brewers the whole time. This is the year because we'll say it every year. Beginning of the year, people are like, I don't know, Brewers probably aren't going to be able to do it. Well, here we are again, 2.5 games out behind the Cubs. They're up in the wild card right now. Matt Arnold, don't let this be another another trade deadline where you don't go and get offense. Don't let it be. It's not going to be detrimental to the end of, it's not going to be the end of the Brewers run in the playoffs. They have the pitching again. They're pitching. The dudes are pitching so well. Quintana's pitching well. The Miz is going to, it's be a lot of nerves pitching in the playoffs, but you can't have another 3 and out, another 2 and out. You got to make a deep run in the playoffs when you have this type of pitching. And with Rhys Hoskins going down, to me, you got to make that move. Is Josh Naylor, is he going to be a Brewer? Is that enough? Because if it's not enough, you got to make 2 moves.
That's my thing. AJ, can this team pitch its way to a deep position in October? Can they surprise some people, upset some people? If that's the case, let's go for 2 bats. Yeah,
you got to score. That's the biggest thing. Yelich and Churio and those guys, they just don't score enough. Joey Ortiz, Murph kind of went off on Joey Ortiz the other day about how he's having a million chances and hasn't taken advantage of it. I mean, yeah, you got to find some offense somewhere, whether that's – Andrew Vaughn you're not counting on. Hoskins coming back. You just need to find some offense. 3 runs against some of the better teams isn't going to get it done most of the time, especially in the postseason. So you've got to find some offense. I don't know where or who they could trade, but they got to do it.
There are going to be plenty of upgradable bat opportunities for them if they're going that route.
Yeah, agreed. But who? Where do they go? Third base? Who do they go get at third base?
Ryan McMahon.
I like Ryan McMahon. Or what about the 2-for-1? Josh Naylor and Gino Suarez.
That'd be great.
Brewers.
But who are the Brewers going to have to give up? See, that's the problem. The Brewers don't always want to give up. The Brewers are usually the guys trading the prospects away. Trading the guy away and getting the prospects back. They're not the team normally that's saying, oh, we want to make a huge splash. So in order to get Suarez and Naylor, they're going to have to give up some prospects, and the Brewers don't normally do that. This would be something interesting to see how it goes.
They need to do that, and both of those players are free agents after this season, so it could be much worse, AJ. The asking price will be decent, but it's not going to be an asking price like you're getting a Juan Soto or, even going a little lower than that, somebody that has multiple years of team control. These are 2 rentals.
Yeah, agreed, but still, they got to give up somebody. And the Brewers don't normally do that. They try to buy low and hope for the big win, right? I.e. Frankie Montas, whoever whoever else you want to talk about. By the way, sorry about a steamer in the background. But yeah, they try to get the high upside rental guys that can come in for 2 or 3 months. They can fix and get them right.
All right, we're going to step aside. Did you have something you wanted to ask us, or you want to do it next segment?
I'll do it next segment. It's from the Bruce Meyer conversation. I have a question I want to ask you. You think if it's feasible or not, and see what you guys say.
No problem. Okay, so next segment, we have breaking news. We're going to have a little bit of robotic influence in the All-Star game next week. More next on FT. AJ, we're in Vegas right now, and I have not had a lot of time to eat during the day. So
no.
What could we do?
I would love a Huel right now. Vanilla Huel would go down perfectly because when I have to skip meals because I'm too busy doing what you do in Vegas, which is not eat, I need a quick replacement, and Huel is the perfect thing.
I'm a chocolate guy myself. It's got the chocolate milkshake vibes to it. If you miss a meal, Huel can be your answer. If you're looking for a big protein boost, Huel can be your answer. So go check it out. Our friends at Huel are part of today's sponsorship. They've got you covered, spelled Huel. That black edition is a complete meal to feel full, focused, and ready for your day. Little prep, basically no prep. Shake it, open it. Huel has sold over 500 million meals around the world, and now it's your turn to try it. So go to Huel.com/foul and get Huel today with the exclusive offer for the FT fam of 15% off for new customers if you use the code, you know it, FOUL, minimum $75 purchase. Get after it. We're back, and we're going to go over some breaking news coming up in a few minutes. So there are some games we won't have time to get to. I'll give you guys 3 options here, stuff that I was watching yesterday. Angel Martinez, grand slam, top 10 off of Josh Hader for the Guardians, who are on life support. The Padres took away not 1 but 2 home runs thanks to Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. in a 1-0 win over Arizona. Luis Arraez, their big power boy, with his 5th home run of the year. And AJ, your White Sox gave the Blue Jays their 10th win of the season in a row.
Well, the biggest one out of that is that, well, first of all, Hader gave up a grand slam in extra innings. But the other thing is that the Padres, you mentioned on life support, the Guardians, the Padres need to turn it around. So any win they can grab right now is huge. So the White Sox are the White Sox. The Blue Jays might never lose again the way they're playing because they just get clutch hit after clutch hit. So, but yeah, the Padres, they got to win. They got to find a way to win because right now, I mean, if they score 1 run, it's a rally. So they've got to figure this out quickly because the rest of the division is starting to kind of get a little bit away from them.
Some will say the White Sox are playing like a high school team. They only played 7 innings last night, so maybe it's coming true.
That's true. They called the game after 7, 6-1 for Toronto.
It was monsooning, by the way.
Oh my God!
And by the way, speaking of rain killed my lock yesterday because Logan Gilbert was shoving, and then all of a sudden rain delay, and then he couldn't throw a strike after like sitting for 40 minutes. So way to go, Yankee Stadium.
FT breaking news. I am super excited for this. MLB will use the ABS challenge system in the All-Star game. That means you tap your hat or your helmet and we can do a little challenge. Each team gets 2 of them and you can keep those challenges if you are successful, aka you are correct and the umpire is wrong. A hitter can do this, a catcher can do this, a pitcher can do this, and that is it. My excitement level is 10. As you can see, Erik Kratz is already practicing his motion for Atlanta. We'll be there. Kratz, your thoughts?
Have to have it. I love it. It is a showcase game. Showcase what's coming next. Young players, something that Major League Baseball is going to institute next year in the ABS. I don't know, like put some targets in the outfield so people can hit them and like things explode. Like it's a showcase game. Take it seriously. We're still the only all-star or still the only major sport that takes the game seriously. It's okay to add some other like cool stuff because These players actually want to win and play defense and pitch and hit. So we have that going.
You know what I hope happens? First 2 pitches of the game, pitcher throws them and goes like this, and then he loses both of them, and then we get out. That'd be awesome. They'd be like, oh, yeah, this doesn't work so good, does it? Boom, boom, first 2 pitches, someone does it, and then it's over with. But, I mean, how are they going to pick who uses it? Judge, Raleigh? On the other side, who's going to get the choice? Shohei? I mean, Freddie? How do you pick who gets to use these? I mean, if you only have 2 of them, and someone gets them wrong early, then it's all over and everyone's whining. So it's going to be an interesting test system. We'll see how it goes.
AJ, I know someone who's not allowed to do it.
Who's that?
Andrew Abbott was just selected to the All-Star game, but his manager, Terry Francona, in spring training told his team, no, we are not practicing the challenge system. So he'll probably tell Andrew before he heads to Atlanta, do not tap your head. We do not want you to do anything that would be different from today's game, not tomorrow's game, today's game. You think I'm kidding? It was actually a true story back in spring training.
Those are all quotes.
Did not want to help the league.
I think they only had it on the road. I don't think they had it in Goodyear. So Terry didn't want him to get used to it. So he's like, why are we going to practice this if we're not using it? It's smart. But
I thought it was ridiculous. You guys are so dialed that you can't do a little tap during spring training. Not even a veteran.
Not in spring training. AJ's not even there half the time. Not in spring training. I disagree with Tito on that one.
Anyway, what do we think about this for the fans? First off, Major League Baseball released that 72% of fans that they polled during spring training said the impact of ABS on their experience at the game was a positive one. 69% giggity said they'd like it part of the game moving forward, and 10% expressed negativity towards it. I mean, that is a resounding success. And AJ, this just furthers the narrative that we are going to have this next year. It's not going to be the full robo ump calling every ball and strike, but we are going to have the challenge system. And I cannot emphasize enough how this is a no-brainer addition to the game for fan engagement.
Agreed. The one thing I saw it live and in person, and it was awesome. The fans were into it. The thing comes on the scoreboard, and everyone's like, it's strike, ball, boo, yeah, right, wrong, whatever it was. It was pretty awesome, and it happened pretty quick. The only thing I worry about is the accuracy of it, because players have said the accuracy isn't that great. So we'll see if the accuracy is right, because they always claim, in tennis they have the line things. Well, the line things aren't always right in tennis, as tennis plays over my shoulder here. But, yeah, they always say, the Cyclops thing, whatever it's called, isn't always perfect. So as long as the technology is correct, then I'm all for being able to tap your helmet.
You know who else isn't perfect, Kratz? Human beings. Yeah, human umpires.
Then you got nothing to argue, Scott. You need arguments. Aren't we in the entertainment business? Lou Piniella coming out, kicking dirt all over the plate and throwing his hat, and Lloyd McClendon grabbing first base and taking it home with him like a little child, right? Like, that's entertaining to people. Like, arguments are entertaining.
Yeah, but you know what else is entertaining? If there's an ump that misses 20 calls in a game, and it happens somewhat frequently, right? I mean, I follow umpire auditor. I mean, 15, 18, 20, often the case. It'll be interesting to see how many of those misses are challenged, because you have to do it instantaneously. This isn't a, let's look back, quality control coach in the dugout tunnel. What does he say? Relay it back. It's, nope, I see this, you're off, boom, tap. And players are going to get pissed. Umpires might have some egos hurt, the ones who like to kick people out of games or have their own strike zone and not the regulation strike zone. I think you're going to have plenty of dissension, AJ, over something like this. Don't you think there'll still be plenty of ejections, people getting kicked out, and really just a battle of what the zone actually is? And it's going to be a uniform zone, not a zone created by an umpire who's got a partial view on a certain pitch.
You're so negative, Scott. Umpires don't do that. Umpires don't have personal vendettas against guys when they're mean to them. That doesn't happen, Scott. So let's get back to the news, please. Let's not spread false rumors.
Who's going to be the first player? Who's going to be the first player to give this one? Shocker, another one. Like, let's check in, like, the whole, like, sarcastic, I know you got it wrong. Like, shocker, you're the one that got another one wrong. Dudes will be thrown out for that if that's what you're looking for.
Are pitchers allowed to do this at all, AJ? If you were
they are.
managing,
They're not very good at it because they don't see the ball. They only
Right.
see where the catcher catches it because most of them go like this with their head, so they lose sight of the ball when it crosses the plate. They only see it after the catcher catches it. And we saw Max Scherzer do this early in spring just to make a mockery of it, and it worked.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not even close, but Max did it anyways just to show that, we'll see. We'll see.
Pitchers will ruin this if they use their heart and not their brain.
Mm-hmm.
They won't. They're going to be told to. They're going to be told to stop. They're not going to ruin it. They're just going to be told to stop. I mean, pitchers get fooled by catchers' mitts. Catchers moving the ball more than anybody.
True.
Right.
Because again,
So
they duck their head when they throw.
Yeah, the framing, AJ, by the catcher should notify most coaching staffs that they need to tell pitchers, you're not the one. It's the catcher, and obviously
the catcher
for
or
the
the
other
hitter.
side, it's the hitter.
Mm-hmm. Should be the catcher and the hitter.
Also, these are two challenges in general. So whether you're on offense or defense, you have to be smart about this. I'm sure there's all kinds of studying going on already behind the scenes by teams to get themselves prepared for this. During spring training, pitchers were less successful than catchers. That's not a surprise. Catchers had a success rate of 56%, so more than every other call went their way. Pitchers' success rate was 41%, so umpires had the edge there. Umpires were probably like, yeah, go for it, pitcher. I got you beat.
Yeah, true. We'll see. We'll see if anybody even does in the All-Star game. Somebody will do it just to say they did it. But that's it.
The success rate is going to be right around 50-ish% because they're not missing. Umpires rarely miss big ones. Rarely miss those big ones. It's the 50-50 ball. That's where all the framing metrics come from. Do you get the umpire to call a 50-50 ball a strike? And I think the players are going to get better and better as the system's used.
See, I agree with that. I think that early on, you're going to have safer challenges and they're going to be looking for the blatant misses. You're talking about 50-50 balls, Kratz. If you're wrong on your 50-50 ball, it might be the 8th or 9th inning and there is a brutal call. Like, let's use a very recent example. Did we not have 3 consecutive misses 2 nights ago with Orion Kerkering against the San Francisco Giants?
Yeah, Phil Cuzzy.
So it'll be a boom, boom, boom.
Well, there wouldn't be a third
we
one.
need to save those.
It would have been boom, strike 3.
Right, true.
It's going to change at bats. It's not going to just be like they're not just going to rack them up back to back.
Right, but my point is you need to be smart. Early on in a game, you can't look at a 50-50 call that's on the borderline and tap your head because if you're wrong, you might need that later for a blatant miss by an umpire. Right, AJ? Aren't you telling people to be careful early on in a game?
Yeah, of course. And you better be real sure who you let challenge. Better be real sure who you let challenge. That's what it's going to come down to. There's going to be some interesting decisions on who's allowed to challenge and who's not.
Smart call by MLB to do this right now. Like you guys said, it is an exhibition game, and this is an opportunity to highlight something in a sport. Obviously, we're highlighting the players, but AJ, I think this is a cool little wrinkle. It's an exhibition game. The winner doesn't get home field advantage in the World Series anymore.
Why not try it out? I mean, you know what else they should do, Scott? They have the softball fence up in Truist Park. They should try that.
See, you guys with your other ideas are a little.
What do you mean? Everyone, once a game or twice a game, you can get the softball fence brought out, and if the guy hits a homer over the softball fence, it's a home run. Let's try that.
I want to make sure I clarify. So AJ wants a softball fence, and Kratz wants dynamite markers that you hit. Do you guys actually want that at the All-Star game? Do you really want that in the All-Star game itself? Or
let's try it. I mean, I'm looking at the softball fence right out my window right now. I mean, it's like 200 feet. Think about the fun if the National League was like, we have Shohei and whoever else coming up. We're gonna tap our helmet. We want the softball fence, and they roll out a 200-foot fence, and then if he hits it over it, let's say they're down 5, it counts as 5 runs or something. Wouldn't you be excited?
I think that's a little much.
Okay.
That's
the
probably
All-Star game.
extreme. That's probably extreme, but I like the way you're going. The only thing I want, if you're not gonna have explosions and fire and stuff, I want the challenge. I want the challenge, like fastest runner, hardest throw, or farthest throw, all that stuff. I want all of it. Put the ball on the tee, see who can hit it the farthest. Like, we already have the home run derby, and that's what everybody's excited about. They're willing to put $1 million into that. Let's have the Major League Baseball challenge games, like where they're doing that stuff around the home run derby too.
Never happen. Now that'll never happen.
I agree with you. It won't, but I want to see it. I don't want to see
never.
a 200-foot fence.
Why? Think about, you got to make a decision. Do I pitch to Shohei or do we intentionally walk him? Right? Because he might hit a 5-run homer. I don't know. Thoughts?
Maybe it's for a homer that's a certain distance. If you hit a 450 plus,
Let's make it fun. Let's think like young people. If you can hit a ground ball into a bucket, you get an extra run. I don't know. Something cool. Let's change it up. You want to get crazy? Let's get crazy, Scott.
Okay. Well, we'll ask Carlos Mendoza, Mets manager, about this little news, and also remind everyone that we will be in Atlanta to witness this. The 14th and the 15th, which is the big days, Monday and Tuesday, Derby Day and All-Star Day, 1 to 3 Eastern, Foul Territory Atlanta Takeover, live from the Truist Community Corner. We got a bunch of replies yesterday when we put this out there. Many of them from Braves fans asking if AJ and Kratz could come out of retirement and help the Braves' current lineup. The answer I gave them was maybe. Anyway, we'll see you all 1 to 3 Eastern, Monday and Tuesday live. It's open to the public, so you can stop by, hang out. There's going to be some VIPs stopping by in addition to the FT fam, some pretty big guests, so we're excited about it. All right, FT fam, coming up next, Mets manager Carlos Mendoza. Hey, let's do a little player spotlight thanks to Arena Club. AJ, give me a player this season that you think is underrated and you might want to try and grab his card.
James Wood. I don't know that he's underrated, but Washington Nationals superstar in the making, and the first slab pack I ever opened had him in it. His rookie card, and the value is only going to go up and up and up. And I'm not going to sell it quite yet, Scott. I'm going to hold on to it because after he continues to hit big homers and put up the stats, make all-star teams, it's going to get more expensive for someone to buy for me.
This is his first full season in the majors. Keep that in mind. I think he's underrated. He's on a Nationals team that's meh, not getting enough attention. He might hit underrated 40 homers.
When he makes the All-Star team this year, they're not going to be underrated.
That helps. He's been intentionally walked 4 times in a game. Anyway, if you want to try and find a Wood rookie card, go check out slab packs on Arena Club. And right now you can get 20% off your first slab pack, or if you just want to go with a card purchase, go to arenaclub.com/FOUL. Use code FOUL. If you buy, sell, trade, collect, go for it. Hey, we had a walk-off inside the park home run from a catcher, AJ. Patrick Bailey gets a fortuitous little bounce off the top of the wall. They're down 3-1, bottom 9, 1 out. I was watching this one live. 3-run homer walk-off. 4-3 win for San Francisco.
You see some crazy, crazy bounces off of that wall in right center. I don't think Romano had this on his bingo card when he threw that pitch. That, okay, maybe a double, maybe a tie game, but the bounce it took was insane. And I give Brandon Marsh credit, although people can say he wasn't in the right place. He actually was in the right place. He just didn't expect it to bounce that hard and that far to his left. He was backing up. He was in the right spot. So just a wild, wacky bounce. We saw this in the All-Star game when Ichiro hit an inside the park homer. Hit one of those weird crevices and bounces somewhere where it's not supposed to go. I don't know, physics, but maybe not in San Francisco.
Triples are the most exciting play in baseball just because you're like, is he going to make it? Is he not? Inside the Parker for a walk-off just eclipsed that for me. I mean, to see the fans bouncing around and like they were in that entire run around the bases with Patrick Bailey and like how he didn't pass out after running that far, like, you know, he wasn't breathing the entire halfway from second to home. Like, crazy bounce, tough. Orion Kerkering probably should have been in the game, but I guess they put Jordan Romano in because they need to figure something out with that bullpen. But, hey, unbelievable. Inside the park walk-off. Epic.
We have Mets manager Carlos Mendoza back on foul territory. Mendy, good to see you, and I'm sure a nice, happy evening after the game to celebrate a big comeback win. What's it like when you have comeback wins like that? I mean, obviously, it's good to get a win in any form. A win is a win, but is a win really a win besides, coming back from a game like that?
What's up, fellas? No, it was a great win for us. Getting down 4 runs, I think it was going into the 8th inning, and knowing that the bullpen from Baltimore, man, they got some legit arms out there, But when we're clicking, we never feel like we're out of the game, and we saw it with Nim leading off that inning, working at, I think it was an 8-pitch at bat, gets on base, Lindor clip him. Now within striking distance. Soto gets on base, and then Pete with the time once on. Before you know it, 4 hitters, tie ball game. It's always a good feeling, and I'm gonna go back to that Sunday game against the Yankees, where we were down 5 or 6-2 in the middle innings, and we put a rally together. And before we know it, we were right back in the game. So again, it's good to see those guys clicking, and for us to be able to get that victory last night the way we did it. It was a good feeling, not gonna lie.
Hey, Carlos, it was great to see the home runs, but I want to go about bullpen management with you. I'm always fascinated by bullpen management. No, just in this game in particular, you use Diaz in the 9th, okay, and then you use Brazaban in the 10th to get out of with the Manfred runner on second. Is there any? Have you ever thought about? And again, this is probably not because the Orioles did the same thing. Tie game, they use Bautista in the 9th to get to the 10th, and you guys score the run in the 10th, and then you get to but then you're in the bottom of the 10th. It's a save situation, and you don't have your closer. Have you ever thought about flip-flopping Brazaban and Diaz? I know you say you got to get to the 10th first, but it just seems like most teams count on scoring the ghost runner, and then, all right, the bottom of the inning comes, and we need strikeouts, and we can't let them score.
Yeah, I think every situation is different. And there'll be times where I might go, whether it's a Brazovan, a Stanek, Garrett, before I go to Diaz. But where we were at yesterday, I knew if we didn't score in the 9th, we had our best hitters coming up. We had Soto, we had Pete, we had those guys. So my thinking the whole time was, I'm going to get Diaz in the game. If we score here in the 9th, then it's a safe situation. But if we go to extras, I want to give these guys another chance to get to the plate, knowing that they use a lot of their high leverage relievers. Bautista was already in the game, and all of those guys, Baker. So again, I think it's where you at, where they at, bullpen wise, who's coming up from you, who's coming up from them. And I thought yesterday was a situation where it's like, you know what, I'm going to shoot Diaz here. I'm going to get him hot. He's in the game, and I'm trying to get the offense another chance. And, I'm glad that it worked out yesterday. Brazovan came in and got the last 3 outs. And that's what I keep telling these guys, man. Like, every time we'll give you the ball, it could be down 5, up 5, down 1, up 1 in the 9th. Like, just go out there and get 3 outs. Obviously with Diaz, it's different. There's a lot of different ways that I could, use him. But yesterday, in that particular time, I thought it was best to use him there.
All right. I got to talk about starter usage. If he's going to talk about bullpen usage, I'm going to talk about starter usage. Do you lose sleep over the arguments you have with front office, the training staff, about when a starter should or shouldn't come out of the game? You've watched a lot of games. You watched a lot of games in the minor leagues, a lot of games in the big leagues. Your view and feel for how a starting pitcher is pitching can't just be on a piece of paper. Am I right? Or does it have to be you're feeling it? Your bullpen is cash. You're still in the beginning part of July. You got to get these guys through 2.5 more months of baseball. How do you deal with that, and how do you argue with them? Or do you just say, you know what? We're winning today's game, and we'll figure out surgeries tomorrow. In August.
Yeah, we win today. We'll figure it out tomorrow. We'll figure out August, September. Like the most important game is tonight's game, and we get together, with the pitching coaches. We have a really good process here, and it's very flexible. And you're 100% right, Kratz. It's not like I'm going out there and say, well, Clay Holmes, for instance, is got 85 pitches. No, we know that this is the first time for him as a starter, and he's making a huge transition. He already exceeded his inning from his previous years. But he's going. Like yesterday was a perfect example. He's through 5. He's 71 pitches. The first 2 guys get on, and am I gonna go to the bullpen there because there's 2 guys on his third time through? The guy was dominating for 5 innings, and I'm gonna give him a chance to get through to the mess. I want him to keep going, especially with how much we've been using our guys from the bullpen. So that's the perfect example. Now guys coming back from injuries, whether it's a Senga, whether it's a Manaya coming up real soon here, then we have a number that will stick to it because of the injury that they're coming from. But as far as like the other guys, there's going to be times where they're going to go 110. There's going to be guys that, depend. So I'm going to go back to Holmes. The previous outing, he was, I took him out after 85 pitches, and he was through 5. But he walked 4 lefties, in that it wasn't like he was dominating. And there was like 4 lefties coming up in the 6 innings. And I said that was it. And it wasn't just because, he was only going to go 85 pitches. I was watching the game, and it was pretty clear. He didn't have the changeup that day. Yesterday, he had the changeup. So that's what, is day by day. The cases are different, and you have to go, you prepare, but the game will tell you what to do.
No kidding. All right, so I've got to ask. You mentioned Senga and Manaya. It said no, quote, no restrictions on them. Does that mean they're going out there chucking 100 pitches? Does that mean you told Senga to cover first base or stop covering first base? Like, what does no restrictions mean?
I said no restrictions.
That's what the people are reporting, Carlos. I don't know.
I mean, we have a number that we are comfortable with as far as pitch count goes. Like I just said, with Senga, after being down for a month, Manaya, first time. But that's basically it, like we have an idea of, how many pitches we want them to throw. And other than that, go play baseball, go pitch.
Mendy, the All-Star game's coming up. And before AJ gets to the tougher question, I'll get you to a fun question. What would you add to the All-Star game to make it creative and fun? I said I want to see the fastest runners run against each other, a 60. I want to see the dudes throw the ball as far as they possibly can. I know teams won't allow that, but what's something fun that we could add to the All-Star game that you would okay as a manager be like, oh no, not my Lindor. I don't want my Lindor running as fast as he can one time in a sprint so that he stays healthy.
Man, you kind of caught me off guard here, but I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind, when I first heard about it, the golden at bat, I thought that was a crazy idea, But hey, why not in the All-Star game? You got, as a manager, you got a bunch of superstars. Which one you gonna pick? So I don't know. That's the first thing that, like I said, because you kind of caught me off guard, but it'll be a pretty tough spot as a manager of an All-Star team to say, hey, you get an opportunity to pick one. Go ahead. Good luck,
True. By the way, Mendy, I also said I'm in Atlanta right now. They have the softball fence out. Not only could you do golden at bat, but once a game, you could call on the softball fence to be wheeled out, and it's like 250 feet. And if that guy on the golden at bat hits a home run, it counts as like 5 runs, right? Over the softball fence, not over the real fence. And then think about the manager.
What if you don't hit it out of the fence? Is that counts like a 6 outs, and then
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like think about all the fun you could have with this whole thing, right? So now, I mean, there's a million things you could go with if we want to make this fun. But now they're bringing in the ABS, okay? Is that the reason Juan Soto was not in the All-Star game? Because he has an eye so good that he would be going like this on every pitch, and they would want to speed this game up a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm a big fan of the ABS, to be honest with you. And that's my feedback after spring training, after going through there. He adds so much to the game. Yeah, I feel like he adds a strategy to it, because if you got selfish players that are going to be challenging early in the game, and then before you know it, in the 8th, on the 9th, with the game on the line, you need that, and you out of it, So, and also for me, it just eliminates the back and forth from the dugout with the umpires. Like you want to argue, go ahead and challenge. And there's a little bit of accountability here for both ends. So I'm a big fan of it. I just saw that they're gonna do it in the All-Star game, and I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. Well, what about Juan? What about Juan missing the? You dodged that part of the question. Juan Soto, give us your honest opinion.
Incredible. I don't get it. He's our MVP. He's an MVP for us. He's an all-star for us. So I'm just hoping that in the next day or two we get a call and he gets invited, because it's hard to believe that when you look at what he's done, all the way to this point, he's not an all-star. So.
And the players got it wrong. It wasn't even the fans that got it wrong. The players got it wrong. So that's my issue. But I also said they brought out those voting sheets, and Juan wasn't quite hot enough yet. Anyway, all that to say, you hit on it a little bit. You said the arguing from the dugout. Mendy, I've seen a little bit too many veins popping out of the side of your head recently. Do you feel like you're a little bit more on edge when your team is going through a tough stretch and calls don't go your way? If you win 16 of 18, are you going to argue the same amount of balls and strikes as if your team loses 13 of 16?
I wouldn't say it'll be the same amount, but it just when they are that drastic in the situation of the game. I'm going to go back to that Sunday, man. Like, come on, Torrens get 2 calls that I'm praying to get Soto or Pete up to the plate. We're down 2. All I need is one guy to get on, and then when you're giving that and missing that much, it's like, come on, man, like we got to be better, understanding that they're human and all that, but whether, I feel like as a manager, if you're in the middle of those tough stretches, kind of like where we were for the past 3 weeks or so, I got thrown out at Pittsburgh the other day. Same thing, we're kind of coming back, and Mark Vientos gets a call, 3-0 call where Soto's behind him, so ball 4, and before you know it, you got to go ahead at the plate with Soto. So I think every situation is different, but when you're not winning as much, you feel like you got to fight those.
Mendy, calm down. You guys are in first place. It's been like this with you guys, right? Every team is like, oh, we win 10, we lose 10. We win 10, we lose 10. We win 10, we lose 10. But guess what? You guys are in first place. You guys are in first place, okay? And I don't care what Kratz says.
I'm not complaining. Listen, I'm just saying.
I don't care what Kratz says, okay? You guys are in first place. But what I want to know is how important was that taking 2 out of 3 from the Yankees? Yes, you would have liked to have swept them. But in New York, for the papers, for the back pages, and then it catapulted you to the win yesterday. How important was that series to win just to kind of get you back on track?
AJ, honestly, going into that series, we were like, how are we going to get through 3 games, with what we have right now? When you look at, we have Hegeman starting on Friday, who kept us in the game. First 2 batters hit homers, and I thought he did an unbelievable job, just staying locked in and giving us a chance. But bullpen was short. Then we have Montas, and then on Sunday, going into the series, we didn't know who was pitching, So for us to take 2 out of 3, you know how special those games are. They're electric. They're intense. Every pitch, every at-bat, every play matters. It feels like a playoff atmosphere. And for us to – and then on Sunday, we get down and, the guys fought back. So, it was special, obviously, good feeling. And I'm glad that we were able to win the series there.
All right. One manager, one of your buddies, Aaron Boone, has been getting so much flack. He's been getting criticized by fans for saying during their tough stretch, the Yankees' tough stretch, that the team is still good, telling the team that they're still good. What else are you supposed to do as a manager? You can't I don't understand how fans can sit there and go, oh, Aaron Boone needs to lose his job. If he's delusional and says his team is still good, what are you supposed to do as a manager?
Yeah, look, I mean, you're going to go out there and tell we suck. We're the worst team in baseball. Look, the reality is that they're good. They got a good team. We're good. there's a lot of good teams in the big leagues, and that's what makes this league, a tough league, man. And understanding that every team is going to go through stretches like this. The fan bases are not happy when you're going through it, and rightfully so. But you just have to be consistent, man, and attack the issues and some of the things that you're not doing well. There's a reason why you're losing games. And my job as a manager, our job as a coaching staff is to continue to coach, continue to teach, and continue to push guys to move forward. But at the same time, understanding and staying consistent that you'll get through it, believing in your players.
All right, last one, Mendy. Pete Alonso is not doing the home run derby. Were you surprised that he actually on his own decided that he didn't want to participate this year? And do you have any thoughts at all as a manager on him not doing it, or do you really not care? I mean, Pete's been able to perform after home run derbies, so I think that narrative gets overplayed, especially with a lumberjack like Pete. But what do you think?
So I was a yes and no. I was kind of like, I thought he was going to do it. When they told me that Pete was an all-star, in my head, I was like, all right, he's doing the home run derby. And then when I found out that he wasn't doing it, I was like, But watching him this year with the way he's preparing his routine, like how locked in, how meticulous he is, like this guy's on a mission right now. So I'm not surprised by it, that he wants to go, he wants to play, but again, like you said, this is a guy that's done it for the past I don't know how many years, and it doesn't affect him. But he felt it was best for him, for the team, to stay away this time, and I respect that. Proud of him obviously for making the All-Star team, but I was a little surprised. Not gonna lie.
You're mad. You're mad. That's what it is, because you were hoping he was going to have you throw to him in the derby. Be honest.
No, nope. I don't throw BP no more, Kratzy.
When did that happen? Just in spring training, you were throwing BP. Did you hurt yourself, or you reached your pitch limit?
No, man. It's just by the time I get out, the guys got their routines. We got a lot of good BP throw. In spring training, I throw all the time. But once the season starts, that's it for me.
By the way, Mendy.
Yeah.
Mendy, you should just pay the $100,000 for Soto. Just give him the $100,000.
Hey, man. Find a way.
Just stroke that check, Mendy. Just stroke that check to him. Stroke that check to him.
Let's get the man to the All-Star game.
Hey, you still got a shot. There's replacement.
Let's do the right thing here.
Just stroke a check. While you're handing them out, I'll take one too. Thank you.
Exactly. Hey, we love the transparency.
I was watching that game last night, yesterday, that they had the World Series. Obviously, we lost, a member of our family on Bobby Jenks, and obviously feel for his family and sending our thoughts and prayers. But watching that game, man, good memories there.
It was my son was here with me. We had it on, and my last at bat, I hit a double off Brad Lidge, and he's like, "What is that?" Because I went no stride. I went stride.
I was watching it here in the office.
Yeah.
It's like, look at that, no stride, pull my front, double. Yeah.
Yeah. My son's like, "What is wrong with you? That doesn't work." I'm like, "It does work, though. That's where you're wrong." See?
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right.
It was great. Thanks, Carlos, for saying that. Sad day. We have our reunion this weekend in Chicago. So sad day with Bobby not being there, but I appreciate you saying that about Bobby. He'll be missed this weekend. And listen, I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, man.
Mendy, appreciate the time. Good luck tonight. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Thanks for having me.
Of course. This was great. Really appreciate it. Carlos Mendoza with us. Alex Pavlovic next, talking Giants. Kratz, we talk about HelloFresh a lot, but in the same fam is another option for you if you're looking to go on your little wellness journey or you're very picky in terms of what you're looking for ingredients-wise. You can go Green Chef this summer.
And I can heat and eat because this summer I've got like 3 days where I'm not doing anything. I'm sure those are going to get scheduled with something. Let's give me something super quick that I can heat up. The whole family's eating healthy, and they're full.
Menus change weekly, 80-plus dietitian-approved weekly meal options. Green Chef makes it easy to find those meals to fit your lifestyle, so go check it out. FT fam, there is an exclusive offer. Make this summer your healthiest yet with Green Chef. Head to greenchef.com/50territory and use code 50territory to get 50% off your first month, then 20% off for 2 months with free shipping. That's code 50territory at greenchef.com/50territory. Former Cy Young winner Dallas Keuchel and the Royals agreed to a minor league deal. This is according to Jeff Passan. He's 37 years old. Keuchel, not Passan. And Keuchel held a workout last week. He got himself up to 92 miles an hour. He's going to start in AAA. If he gets to the big leagues, he would make a prorated version of $2 million. So we're a little past halfway point. So I guess $1 million or less for Dallas Keuchel. I didn't realize this. What?
Haven't we seen this skit before, though? Hasn't he been doing this for like the last 3 years? Where he goes and he doesn't start with the team, and then he goes and throws a bullpen. And some team signs and he comes up for like 1 or 2 starts, and then he's gone, and then he does it again the next year.
That's my point. My point was going to be that it feels like it's been years since he pitched in the big leagues, but it's been years since he pitched consistently in the big leagues. He's actually made appearances every year since his rookie season in 2012. So AJ, I mean, he's suddenly going to be 13, maybe another year or two, 14, 15-year career where really it was during about a 9 or 10-year stretch. You're right. Last year he made 4 starts.
Yeah, parts. We have a saying, you have this many years, parts. Right, so he has parts of that many years. But I mean, yeah, cool. If teams keep signing, it's like Rich Hill. Teams keep signing them. They keep calling them to the big leagues. Why would you stop playing? But I don't know. At some point, you got to say enough is enough. Is it really worth going through all this to get 4 starts in the big leagues? I guess for some people it is.
Who signed Rich Hill earlier this year? The Royals.
The Royals.
Yeah, and he hit 92. That's my favorite part. Keuchel went to like the drive line before, and they were like, "Oh, he got his velocity up," and then he comes out in the games. He's just regular Dallas Keuchel, which is all he needs to be.
Alex Pavlovic joining us right now to talk about the Giants. He covers the team for NBC Sports Bay Area, hosts a Giants Talk podcast, and has a book out now, the franchise, San Francisco Giants, a curated history of the orange and black. We're going to get into that coming up in a sec. There you go. Oh, nice. You can scan that QR code on the screen to go support Alex. And also, if you want to learn more about the San Francisco Giants, we're going to give you a little taste of the book coming up. Alex, first off, great to have you on. Congratulations on putting this book together. And actually, you know what? Let's go right into the book first. Best part, juiciest part of the book is...
Juiciest part, the Giants, I'm sure you guys have talked about this in off seasons, finished second over and over for like Harper, Ohtani, Judge. That I think is my favorite chapter, was diving into some of that, diving into what happened with Correa, how they tried to get Judge and differentiate themselves with Ohtani. And, the Phillies are in town right now, and Bryce is really the one that got away here. Right? They finished second. They were $20 million short, and they felt really strongly about that in 2019. So I think that was my favorite chapter. Just it's more recent, and it was fun to do the reporting on that one.
Obviously, we want people to read the book and dive into all of that. But my follow-up there, was it a money thing? Like, if the Giants were the leaders by 20 million, do you think they actually could have brought in Bryce Harper?
I think usually if someone's the leader by 20, yeah. And I ultimately think this is a money thing. But one thing I have in the book is I talked to Bryce about it, and he said, look, I talked to Bruce Bochy, and he said he was retiring, and that was a big deal. And he called Brandon Crawford the night before he made his decision, and he asked, do you know who's going to be the next manager? And the Giants really had no idea what was going to happen 7 months, 8 months from then. So there was some uncertainty. I think that certainly didn't help. But in the end, they were about 20 million short anyway.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That they keep coming up short for all these stars, including Arson Judge, who they thought they had for sure, and then he changed his name to Aaron Judge and didn't show up. So, hey, whatever works for the Giants. But the question I have in this book is, who has a bigger chapter, my Giants career or Erik Kratz's Giants career? Which one of us has a bigger chapter in this book?
I have to do the Control F and see if I found either one. I will say I thought of Erik last night because I was thinking of crazy walk-offs, and I think he had one in like the 18th inning when he was a Giants catcher. So you could tell me if that was correct. I remember it was really, really late at night that you had a walk-off, and there was like 3 people at your locker who were left over.
Yeah, nobody needed to interview me. It was just a standard 18th inning walk-off, and they were like, why is Buster Posey not playing by?
Yeah. That was memorable.
Yes.
Makes sense. But my problem is if I'm not in the book, you can't tell a history of it because the Giants did retire my jersey number. So you can't have a book if I'm not in it about the Giants.
AJ, you come up a lot with Giants fans. You still are. They still think about you quite a bit.
Oh man, as they should.
Hey, Alex, I want to get to a chapter that might not be in your book, but maybe can be part of a sequel situation. The Rafael Devers saga. So I want to work from where we are now, and then we can go backwards to how crazy the trade was and how Buster Posey's early tenure has been with San Francisco. What's the word? I'm sure that's dominating the radio airwaves out right now in San Francisco about Will Clark trying to work with him, and he didn't want to go out there when the Red Sox were in town and be showing off to them how he's down for taking ground balls at first base, and the Giants apologized to Will. What else can you tell us about that little back and forth reality show we had?
Yeah, I think it was a juicier story in Boston yesterday. I'm sure there was some talk radio stuff here, but most Giants fans I saw and most people at the ballpark were just kind of annoyed by it because Giants fans are extremely, extremely happy to have Devers here. They don't care about what happened over there. And I'll go back to that chapter. Look, they finished second over and over and over again. And he's not Judge, he's not Ohtani, but he's a star. And he's a guy who's going to be here for a long time now. And he has a huge contract. So Giants fans are just like overwhelmingly positive about this. And I think the main takeaway yesterday and talking to some people, and he did talk to the media yesterday. Bob Melvin was asked about it, is he's dealing with a groin injury that he had when he came here. And the last few days, there's been some back tightness. So he just hasn't done a lot of work, period. He's doing early BP and he's taking some grounders over there, but they don't feel like he's going to be ready at least for another week plus 2 weeks to potentially be out there. He's been out there every single day as the DH since they got him. And if you watch him run, he looks like someone who probably needs 10 days off. But they're appreciative of that. And I think they don't really care much about the other stuff because they got him to be their DH and they'll figure it out at first base as they go.
Is he the star? Is he the star, though, that they were looking for because they have finished second all the time? I get it. Rafi Devers, is an elite superstar, but do the Giants need a star that's more outgoing, or do they need a second star to be able to turn this thing back into what it was in 10, 12, and 14?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not the guy who's going to be doing all the media, who's going to be doing the post-game show all the time. We haven't, frankly, talked to him a whole lot. I mean, he did a lot the first week, but since then, he's not that guy. But I think Willy Adames is going to be that guy. Matt Chapman's going to be that guy. And one thing out here is like Logan is extremely popular. Logan is the face of the franchise now. He's never changed. He does all the media. He does all the appearances. He signs all the autographs. He's the all-star. He's the Cy Young candidate. I think he'll take care of some of that. It is a good point. At some point, they're waiting for the next Buster Posey, the next Brandon Crawford, and they're hopeful that Bryce Eldridge, who is their top prospect, can be that guy. I don't think Rafi will ever be that guy. They just need someone in the middle of this lineup and someone who, people don't come here in free agency. They don't want to hit here. I'll go back to Bryce. I mean, he says he likes the ballpark and he loves the fan base, but he's never hit at Oracle Park. So if he looks at his numbers, it's not a place he probably wanted to spend the rest of his career. But the fact that they were able to get Devers and not have to convince him to come play at Oracle, he just has to come do it for potentially 8 years. That's really important to them. And it allows them to not have to worry about the free agency route. And hopefully they develop a Bryce Eldridge or somebody else down the line who can be the next homegrown star, because those are the guys who have always resonated here.
Alex, is this Buster Posey's new way to do things? They've tried free agency. Now they just said, you know what? We're not messing around free agency. We're just going to go trade for Devers. And is this going to be his legacy? Because he's from the Brian Sabian mold of, hey, we have a chance to win. We're going all in every time we have that opportunity. Is that going to be the way? Because before with Farhan and Gabe, we got a platoon and we got to make sure every piece fits perfectly. it seems like to me, Buster Posey's like, all right, this guy's a pretty good player. This guy's good. He can help us. Let's all bring him together and we'll figure that out later.
Yeah, I think Buster's, there are executives who are probably thinking 6-7 years down the line. He's not. He's not worried about what this contract's going to look like at the end, what Adames' contract is going to look like. I mean, the quote that always gets brought up here is when he got introduced in October, he said, we're in the memory-making business. And I think he had gotten tired of watching. Look, they had 40,000 last night. They've sold out almost as many games as they did. Like, you have to go back like 6 or 7 years to find this many sellouts. And we're in July. It's been a long time since they've had this kind of buzz in the Bay Area, and nights like last night, which continue to build this. And I think he's just trying to bring that back. And we'll see where this all goes long term, and we'll see how long he wants to do this and what their roster looks like. I have some long term concerns about the fit with some of these guys as they get older. But right now, he wants to win, and he wants to kind of bring the excitement back. And that meant going out and getting Adames when nobody expected them to really spend that much in the offseason. That meant convincing ownership, which he is part of, to go and get Devers. And I don't know how much powder they have left for the deadline, but I think they will try to help this team because they feel really good about a potential playoff run if they can put Webb and Ray at the top and with that bullpen in a short playoff series. So he's going all in, I think, and there's no more kind of waiting around. They gave up a couple really good prospects in that Devers trade, and they think really highly of Kyle Harrison and gave up their first-round pick last year. But, yeah, this is Buster being competitive and saying, why not? Like, I think he probably hasn't given up on the division at this point even, but why not just go get a wild card spot and see what you can do in October?
Oh, that is so refreshing. That is so refreshing in San Francisco, too, because the fans come out. Like you said, 40,000 a night. 40,000 a day in the day games too. Like, it's refreshing. I think San Francisco needs to be a team that is there and competitive year in and year out. And I love that Buster's doing that, but you have to tell us what they need, because to me, their areas of need, you talked about Robbie Ray, Logan Webb, and that strong bullpen. Their areas of need may not be able to be sufficed in one move or even in like two little moves. So where will they most likely target?
Yeah, I think if they can, just generally pitching, they've had the bullpen's been the best in baseball. They've had a good starting staff for most of the year, but it's been rough for Verlander. We'll see what he does today, but it just hasn't kind of been what anyone expected. And he's really searching the last few weeks to find some fixes. Hayden Birdsong's really, really talented, but it goes off the rails at times with him. And there's some inconsistency there. Landon Roop's done a really nice job, but he's a young guy. He's on pace to pass his innings total last year by like 90. So I think generally if they could get some pitching, and Kyle Harrison was the next line of defense and he's gone. And the bullpen, as good as it has been, like there are some guys who you just worry about a little bit. So if they could get a starter and maybe move a guy to the bullpen, or if they could get a reliever and have a little bit more depth there, I think that would be the way they should go in the next few weeks. It sounds strange because the pitching's carried them and they have 3 All-Stars and could have more who are consideration. But I think right now that's probably where they're going to be a little short in the second half.
Alex, really appreciate the time, and we definitely want to bump the book on the way out here. So any final words while we show the book QR code for everyone that wants to get a piece of the franchise?
No, I'm just really appreciative of you guys having me on, and I hope people enjoy it. And if there's a sequel, I promise to get both these catchers in there.
Ooh, I like that guarantee. That's great.
Better start right now. Better start right now.
Don't waste your time. Mm-hmm. Don't waste your time.
AJ's got stories.
I'm sure he does.
He does. Alex, thank you. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
We'll be right back. We have another addition to the Home Run Derby. What's up? We're back. All right. So do you want to see the little trade that was made between Bryson Stott and a fan who probably just put a baseball in the McCovey Cove, took it out and said, "Oh, look what I found." So apparently Schwarber hit one into the Cove, and now he joins Stott, Harper, and Cody Ashley as the only Phillies to do it in 25 years, according to Matt Gelb, covers the team for The Athletic. Stott said he recently secured the ball from his splash hit in 2023. A man in a kayak had been hanging on to it, and while Stott was skeptical that the dude had just placed a baseball in the water, he traded 2 signed baseballs for it, and he will cherish it forever. I mean, there's no way to really authenticate that, I don't think, if a baseball enters the water. So you got to just have trust and say it's real.
As long as he believes it's real, who cares?
I don't even know if I actually have my real first home run ball, because it went into the bushes in Citizens Bank Park, and so did like 25 other baseballs during batting practice every day. So they crawled in the bushes and they were like, sure, this is the one. Authenticate it. There you go. And don't even get it twisted. He put that ball in a sink in his hotel room or in his house. It wasn't. You don't need to put it in McCovey Cove. It's not like Stott's testing it for McCovey Cove water.
Why does it matter? I mean, as long as he thinks it is, as long as Bryson Stott thinks it is, then who cares?
It's a memory.
As long as who cares? I mean, he can hang it on his wall and that's it. Who cares?
What if I think I have it, AJ?
Then you want it for money. It's the only reason you want it.
You think a lot of things. They're not right.
No, I'm just believing in conspiracy theories and fairy tales. And if I have a baseball and I can say, oh, well, actually, I got it from a guy who went underwater and found it.
Scott, stop. You're stop, Scott.
Balls float. They don't go down.
Yeah, stop. That just proves that you don't have it, Scott.
I actually do have something that is related to our next topic, the bobble behind me. Here, show me for a sec. The next topic is all about that guy behind me. So when we're back in 20 seconds, we're going to talk about how this day just got way better for him, and I think for everyone.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Junior Caminero said, I'm in for the home run derby, and he was just named as a replacement for the All-Star roster. So he will be out there in a big way in Atlanta. First off, he takes over for Alex Bregman. Bregman was voted in by the players, even though he hasn't played in a long time. Junior Caminero deserves to be in. Kratz, he's got, I believe, the most home runs among third basemen. He just turned 22 years old, by the way. And this season, he's 252, 294, 496 with the slugging percentage. And yes, he leads all major league third basemen with 21 home runs. Perfect candidate for the home run derby. So we get to see a guy who is one of the best in baseball in exit velo, max exit velo, bat speed, the whole deal. These are the guys that you want in there. Young, can put on a show, does it in BP.
Flash. He even came on here and said he would love to do it a few weeks ago. To me, this is what you need, but you also need to have guys who, like AJ said yesterday, can hit the ball out of the ballpark in all directions. Atlanta, the ball flies. And I know the wall in right field is a little bit high, but Junior can hit the ball out there. He can pull it. He can go to center field, and you need to be able to do that as you get tired. You know, you're not all the balls aren't just going to go directly down the line. To me, I think possibly people don't really know about Junior Caminero. I don't think they know what kind of juice he has. Without you saying it, Scott, I don't think people know where he's at exit velocity. You look up his Baseball Savant page, there's a lot of red. This dude hits the ball hard, and people are going to be like, well, he only has 21 home runs. 21 home runs at the All-Star break is ridiculous for any player that's really just getting his feet wet in the big leagues this year for the first time.
Well, here's one thing I'll say about this. we're on a lot today because the Rays game got pushed back, so we're all over the Tampa Bay TV right now. So people in Tampa, in the Tampa Bay area, they know Junior Caminero. Most people don't, but I am so happy for him because, one, he deserved to be in the All-Star game even without Bregman getting hurt. But two, he wants to do the home run derby. So what even took so long for him to be considered for this? He came on Foul Territory and said, I want to do the home run derby and I'm going to put on a show. That should be like automatic Rob Manfred calling him up and MLB saying, oh man, we got a guy that wants to do this. Check, Junior, you're in. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is in. He's on an all-star, but Junior Caminero had to wait. I disagree with that. So good for him. Good that he's on this team. He deserves it. He's a great player. He's going to be a star. And even in Tampa Bay, but people in Tampa Bay know about Junior Caminero.
I got a question. What AJ just said, we got to wait for Rob Manfred. We got to wait for the league. The All-Star game is about what? The players or the league? Why can't the players make these decisions? Why can't the Players Association be like, you know what? We want the best product out there because this showcases Junior Caminero, who is in Tampa. And that's nothing against Tampa. It's not a big media market. And I don't think people know the extent of his prowess. And to me, like, why couldn't the players get together and be like, whoa, there's no way we can have a home run derby without the best, the most powerful dudes. And the other thing I think they didn't ask him because I think they're just now going through the guys who weren't voted into the All-Star game is how I feel like it went down.
I'm down for that if we take away the player vote for the All-Star game and just give it to the fans or to someone else because they're losing me on that.
True.
Like I don't see how, and I always forget his first name, but McClung, who wins the dunk contest the last few years. Matt McClung? Mac. Okay, there you go. So that shows you how much I know. There's no way that the commissioner of the NBA is like scouring the D League going, hey, any of you guys want to do it? Like there's definitely a collaboration there that I feel like could happen. It doesn't have to just be a league like, hey, the league is inviting you to do the home run derby. Have a sign up. Have like have a get-in tournament, a playback tournament where other dudes are doing home run derby stuff to be able to get into the home run derby. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting the home run derby up on too much of a pedestal.
I think you're just overcomplicating things. I don't know. I feel like they do a pretty good job
Sign up
here
sheet.
figuring it
I
out.
think they do a pretty good job by the end. You have to understand how many people say no to this. So
yes, a lot of no's.
A lot of people
So
say
they've
no.
asked a lot. They've asked a lot already, you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, they want to make sure, like, even though he's pretty much a lock, you always want to make the phone call. Hey, Judge, not in? Cool. Got it. Obviously, you got to make the phone call to see if Pete's in for the Derby. Mm-hmm. He's won 2 of them. He declined this year. And you go down the line to some of the big boys and make sure that you're not missing out on anyone. But I do agree. I want to go back to where we started here. Regardless, I think that Junior Caminero has the most home runs among third basemen and the StatCast metrics that he brings to the table deserve to be in the home run derby. He made it to the All-Star game, which is great. He deserves that too. But I think even if he didn't, the league should have put this invite out there at least a week ago. And here's what he said on our show about a month ago.
All-Star game, home run derby. If you get to the All-Star game, which would be awesome for you, would you do the home run derby?
No sé si ganaría, pero yo sí sé que puedo montar un buen show y poner a la fanaticada a disfrutar.
If I get selected and they give me the opportunity, yes, I'm not going to say that I'm going to win, but I'm going to put a great show for the fans, and it's going to be entertaining.
There you go. And he got in there. And remember, later in the conversation, he was like, please call me. I want to be in. So now he's in. So we're excited. Mm-hmm. We'll see him out there. There are 2 spots left. I butchered it yesterday at one point because I was essentially hungover, not sleeping with 12 hours of flight delays. And a couple fans let me know that I missed out on not knowing what the whole derby field was looking like at the moment. You got me. Thanks for watching. Anyway, let's get to Juan Soto's comments. So AJ asked Carlos Mendoza live about a half hour ago about Soto's incentives. He gets $100,000 if he makes the All-Star team. And Soto's like, yeah, it's a lot of money. He was asked if he would have liked to make it. He's like, what do you think? I think it's a lot of money on the table if I make it. At the same time, AJ, $100,000 for a guy who is going to make close to $800 million. Actually, in his total career, he's going to make close to $1 billion. That's chump change.
Agreed. This is not a lot. That's why I was joking with Mendy that he should write him a check. So, because most people is going, you're making $760 million and you're talking about $100,000. So, listen, it's still $100,000. But yeah, I think it's more about the fact that he didn't make the All-Star team. The players didn't vote him in than the money. Let's be serious here.
Mm-hmm.
Would you go, AJ? Would you go if you were him and he wasn't selected in, but now he gets selected in, like as like a spiteful thing? Would you spitefully say, "Nah, I don't want to go. You don't want to invite"?
Why would I not? Why would you not go? You still get to go. What's the point? What, you can't just not go.
There's
then
plenty of people who just don't.
Then you just look like a. I don't know. You just look like.
There's a lot of players that do that, guys. Over the last 5 years, there are a lot of no's that are fake no's, and in my mind, something has to be written in where you must attend, even if you're hurt or whatever it is. You must go. This is for the fans. Fans mostly voted you in, right? You should be going.
Yes.
We don't have to go through that list, but it is a very long list of guys who essentially don't give a crap. And I think that there needs to be repercussions for that. Maybe it's okay, you're saying no and you're not going to show up unless you have a very legit excuse, like, wife's having a baby, super family medical emergency, something crazy, which obviously we're human beings. We understand that. If it's just, don't care about it, I want to take some time off, I think there should be some type of penalty, including maybe that you can't be voted in again after that, right? If you don't care enough, then you don't want to be part of the All-Star festivities. Oh, well, but I don't know. I don't think we're ever going to get there. Just wanted to throw it out there. All right. We've got our next guest ready to go. It is the legendary Jim Abbott. There's a new documentary out on him, and we're going to ask him about it. All right, Harry's is going to get an award here, MVP in the shaving world. And AJ, if you want to equate it to things that we talk about, it's not expensive. And it's super versatile, right? The company itself, because there's other products that you can get on the site, deodorant, body wash, etc. But for your everyday shaving needs, Harry's has you covered. And you look at the pricing, you look at the quality, and you're like, wait, why was I using the old classic brand for a long time?
Listen, as somebody right now that needs a Harry's, I've just been lazy. Harry's, I have plenty of them lined up, ready to use. You can use them for more than one shave, which is huge for me. And the pricing is right. I got to go get my Harry's because my neck beard is sick. But Harry's will fix that. It'll line me up straight. It'll no bumps, no cuts. It's exactly what I need for a great price.
That's right. Get the edge on your shave with Harry's. Normally, their trial set is $10, but right now you can get it for just $6 at harrys.com/foul. That's our exclusive link, harrys.com/foul, for a $6 trial set. Hey, AJ, you got a quick question for us?
Well, it's longer than 30 seconds, so I don't think we have enough time for it because it's kind of a discussion about what Bruce Meyer talked about yesterday, and a friend of mine sent me a suggestion to something that he said about the deadline for signing. And I thought it was something that we should debate on here. And then I'll give you some response that I was given from Bruce, because I then sent it to Bruce Meyer and he responded with his answer. So I think if we have time after we talk to Jim Abbott, it's something that we need to talk about, because I think it's a great idea, but I don't think that the owners would ever go for it. And I think they've probably already said no to it.
Okay. All right. So we can try that in a little bit. While we have one more minute, this was put out there by Front Office Sports, although they probably got it from somewhere else. Only 3 of the 10 highest paid players in Major League Baseball are named All-Stars this year. So this game features many, many people. Did they give a number? I don't know how many under 26 years old, but heavy young crew on the All-Star roster this year. Money cannot buy you happiness. Confirmed. Just like we heard yesterday, AJ, Mets usually
Wait,
towards the
is
top in
Shohei
payroll.
is Shohei
What?
included in that though? Is Shohei included in
It's a
that?
I
great
feel like
question.
these numbers are cooked. These numbers might be cooked a little bit. Like, is that
Yeah,
including
Shohei-
everything Max is making? Like, Max is making more than everybody because he's getting 15 from the Nats, 15 from the Mets, I
Yeah.
don't know.
The great Jim Abbott joins us on the show right now, and a special time as ESPN E60 is coming out with Southpaw: The Life and Legacy of Jim Abbott this Sunday. You can watch it on ESPN. Jim, great to have you on. And what can you tell us about what we're going to expect to watch this coming weekend?
It's been a whirlwind. I was at Yankee Stadium last night throwing out the first pitch, and I have a documentary coming out on ESPN Sunday night. It's it's recaptured my playing career, my playing days, and how I've been went about things, but also it gets deep into some of the kids and families that followed my career closely. As you guys know, I was born missing my right hand. I didn't play like everybody else. There was a little bit of difference in the way I went about things, and they decided to do a documentary about it. Turned out pretty good. Hope you guys like it.
I was talking to Tim Brown, the author of your book and the author also of my book. So we have that connection. We also both have the same barber. So that's a great connection. except I don't beat Tim in golf, and I know you absolutely annihilate him in golf. So there's that.
But he's great. He said to remind you that my earned run average as a Yankee is half of yours.
It is, and that's fine. That's why we didn't put a graphic up on the screen here, because if it was closer, then I would have put it up there. But my question to you is the kid that you alluded to in the doc, the kids that you were always, and players see this all the time. I was just at a Red Sox game last night. Players come up to kids, and it makes their day. It makes the kids' lives. And during your career, a lot of kids with, the same thing that you have, you were talking to, and you never got to talk to those kids who are now adults. How did that hit you? How did that hit you off screen, but also what we can expect when we see it on screen?
Well, honestly, it's pretty emotional. I remember these encounters, whether it was, Chicago or Boston or New York or Texas. Kids, I never knew there were so many kids like me, missing part of a hand, missing part of an arm with some sort of limb difference. And, you guys know it's hard to fashion a major league career. It takes everything you have, right, to compete at that level. But before games and after games, kids started to show up in numbers that I never imagined. And it didn't take much. It didn't take much to step outside and say hello. But this documentary, Southpaw, went out and found some of these kids and what they're doing now, and what the things they just didn't let the circumstances of their life become an excuse. And they're MMA fighters, they're basketball players and doctors and lawyers, and it's really inspiring. It was very emotional. It hit hard, to answer your question.
Jim, for people that don't know, you're missing part of your hand. That's the whole thing. And you were born that, you've dealt with this your entire life, and you went. But the most amazing thing to me is, yes, you play golf and yes, you pitch, but you also got 2 hits in the big leagues. That to me is the biggest thing that I can't get over, is the fact that you went up there and there's dudes, Erik Kratz with 2 hands could barely get 2 hits in 21 at bats, and you got 2 hits in 21 at bats.
That's so funny. I met Garrett Cole last night at the ballpark, and that's all he could talk about. I was like, man, dude, you got 2 hits. I looked it up on Google. I love to hit. I fancied myself a pretty good hitter back in the day, but then they started throwing curveballs, and I wasn't so good anymore. But I love to swing the bat. It's the funny coincidence about those 2 hits. They both came off of John Lieber. I was with the Brewers and he was with the Cubs, and I've never talked to him about it, but he got over it. He had a fine career.
That's great. That's tremendous. Yes, and hitting was tough when they started throwing curveballs. So I don't need that. I don't need curveballs. That's why I quit. My question to you is: you said in your book that you always wanted to be evaluated as a pitcher and not a pitcher that was missing his one hand. You wanted to be evaluated. Can you tell us when you were first evaluated as a pitcher that was just a pitcher and not a pitcher that was missing his one hand?
You know, a lot of motivational words, a lot of flowery words were used to describe my play. You know, it was courageous, it was motivational, inspirational, and I didn't look at it as any. I was selfish, man. I was determined. I wanted to do well. I wanted to stick around. I wanted to be in the big leagues, but when you get thrust in that environment and you start to learn that no quarter is given, right? There's a little clip out right today that Wade Boggs said when he first faced me. He said, "I'm just going to hit the ball up the middle and go 4 for 4." And he actually did it. He hit the ball straight up the middle, and I made the play and threw him out. And he said, "Oh, I guess we have to take this guy seriously." So, you know, as you guys know, in the big leagues, they don't care how you get it done. They just care that you do get it done. And so I guess, you know, it was in those experiences and winning and losing and the toughness of that environment that I felt like I started to be, you know, rated for my effectiveness rather than, you know, the oddity or the human interest story.
Jim, you threw a no-hitter in the big leagues. Did you tell, after you threw that no-hitter, did you tell Wade Boggs, like, dude, they didn't hit it up the middle, they tried, and I just no-hit a big league team? Like, that had to be the coolest thing ever. I've been part of no-hitters in perfect games, but for what you went through and with what you've dealt with, for you to throw a no-hitter in the big leagues has got to be one of the coolest moments ever.
Well, thanks, man. You know, and Wade, I tell you, we became teammates on the Yankees, and he was incredible at third base that day. I threw one cutter after another, and if it wasn't a cutter, it was a slider. So the third baseman who were playing the day I pitched usually got a pretty good workout, and Wade just came up with play after play. Actually had a no-hitter saving diving play in the 7th inning against Albert Bell, who smashed one in the hole, and Wade slid and caught it and threw him out by a step. You know, the moment of a no-hitter, and it's so special. It's so rare. That last out, there's something about the building of those 27 outs that when it happens, you just kind of can't believe it's going on. And yeah, it really, you know, the memories came flooding back last night being up at Yankee Stadium. Not the same stadium, of course, but, you know, the pinstripes in New York and a lot of old friends up there.
You make the big leagues if you play nowadays? I think that's a question that a lot of guys are always asked, like, oh, this guy, you know, he couldn't have pitched in this era. This guy could have pitched in any era. Do you think you get the same shot that other kids are getting right now if you pitched in this day and age with the same velocity, pitches, location, all that stuff?
You know, that's a good question, Erik. The game has changed, right? I'd like to think that I would have trained in the same ways that the players train now, and you know, would have had some of the technical advantages that they take advantage of now. But I don't know. You know, I don't know if you don't throw 96 miles an hour. And I threw in the low 90s. I threw mid 90s a little bit when I was young and being scouted. But yeah, if you're not throwing 97 and maxing out velo, and spin rates got to be certain things, and whether that's a good or bad thing for the game, maybe that's a discussion for a different time. But I do think kids who are coming up on the draft, and I guess we're getting started Sunday night just before this documentary, yeah, they're evaluated to the nth degree. I agree. There's probably tougher scrutiny on them than there's ever been.
Jim, where are we at with the technology nowadays? How far has it advanced medically for someone in your situation? I mean, I truly don't know. Are there prosthetics and stuff like that? And could we see somebody with a prosthetic, if it is available, eventually pitching in a major league game?
That's a great question. One of the things I had trouble with was hiding my pitches. I couldn't put the ball in the glove and hide it like Andy Pettitte did so famously. I had to, hide the ball behind the mitt so the first base coach, the third base coach could tip off the pitch if I wasn't, I had to kind of spin the ball in my hand until I set my grip kind of too late for a hitter to make that adjustment. An adaptive glove that might help hide the pitches a little bit better might be something that could be different. I think the advancement for kids born like me now is in the medical field. There's doctors, there's surgeons who have figured out ways to reconstruct hands, allowing for a little bit mobility, a little bit more dexterity, posing fingers. And so there are some pretty incredible medical advances that have happened, not necessarily to help baseball, but to get through kindergarten and get through, life.
Jim, who do you like to watch now? That's what I want to know. Who do you like to watch pitch now?
Oh, Ohtani is amazing. We say everything about him all the time, and I don't think we say enough. It's just absolutely amazing. Knowing, as you guys know, the importance of routine in the game and preparation, to be able to go out and start a major league game and play as a position player or a DH in between those starts is shocking. It's unbelievable. We all had, day one you did this, day two you did this, day three you did this, and by the fifth day you wanted to get back up on the mound, and he doesn't have the advantage of any of that stuff. It's crazy. I really like watching him. Kershaw got his 3,000th strikeout the other night, and he's been such a classy player in the Southern California for a long time. And I live in Southern California, so I'm a big admirer of him. 2 Dodgers. I can't believe I just named 2 Dodgers being of an Angel background. They're going to kill me back there.
That's okay. They'll be fine. They'll forgive you. How are you not an all-star? We're coming up to the all-star game and we're talking about snubs. How are you never an all-star? And what year do you feel like it was like, man, I just missed it?
Right. You know what's weird? Yeah, I got screwed over 10 years in a row. I couldn't believe I didn't make. You know what? Honestly, my career was a little different because I won 18 games one year, but I had a really, really strong second half. I won like 11 games in the second half of the season, and the next year after that, I was 7-15, but I had, if the metrics of today were to be used, it would be viewed as a different kind of season because I had, I think, the third best ERA in the league, and I had a strong. I felt like of all of the years that maybe I could have been considered one of the best pitchers in the league, it was that one, even though the team that I was on didn't have a strong offense and we didn't win a lot of games, but it was probably my best pitching year that I had.
That makes sense. Your best year, by the way, as a White Sox alumni like you, I just want to know, how bad did Herm Schneider, the trainer, hurt you when you would go into the training room? How bad did Herm try to hurt you when you would go in there?
He could dig pretty deep, couldn't he? Yeah, he'd get in there. He was Hermie was the best, and I love that guy. I came over and after the strike, and they needed a pitcher, and Robin Ventura was a great friend of mine, and Kirk McCaskill, and I joined up with them, and they just raved about Hermie. They said, you got to come to the White Sox and be with Herm, and he's a legendary trainer in the American League. But you're right, he could hurt you. You'd pay.
Jim, this was awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's a busy schedule right now, promoting the doc, doing all kinds of appearances. We're excited to watch it this weekend, like you mentioned, Sunday night after the draft, 9:00 Eastern time on ESPN. It's about an hour and a half, streaming afterward on ESPN Plus. It's the life and legacy of Jim Abbott, Southpaw, part of ESPN E60. Thanks again, Jim. Really appreciate it. Great to see you.
Hey, you guys have a great show. I'd love to come on again sometime.
Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah,
Love the book. I love the book too, Erik. Great book with Timmy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Hey, we all lost yesterday. You go plus money, trying to swing parlays, you're not going to win every day. It happens. Updated money bags. Pap's up, I'm up, but it's slight. The rest are down. Let's get back on the winning side. Kratz, you're down the most. Will you put a few $100 on the line tonight?
Let's stay with it. I'm actually only putting $50 on the line tonight because BetMGM threw me a odds bonus boost. And so I'm going with a plus 536. It's boosted, but it's the over in strikeouts for Schlitter's debut with the Yankees. And it's over in strikeouts for Logan Evan pitching against the Yankees, two teams that strike out. And I also took a money line with the Tigers because I feel like the Tigers and Reese Olson always win. And that gets me to plus 520 when BetMGM gives me a nice little boost. So I only need to put $50 down to win $260.
Wow. But AJ, if he puts another 50 down, he would be in the
win
plus.
520. Why would you not do that?
I'm here for the people.
Okay. I don't get it, but okay.
He's placing bets for the people. It's what I did last year, and then I veered away once Kratz gave me a little extra allowance. I was trying to keep everything in a certain range, and now I do that sometimes, but not all the time. And then there are the ballers like AJ. So where are you balling out today?
I'm going Philly, San Francisco over 8 runs. I just think they're going to score tonight in San Fran. And then Cleveland and Houston over 7.5 runs because I think they're also going to score tonight. So that gets me to plus 242. So I'm just rooting for runs. I like runs. I like offense. And I like runs.
It's summertime. AJ likes runs. We'll see if it happens. Pap's pick will come later on. I'll give you mine later on. Coming up next, Hot Corner. 2 topics, Jazz Chisholm moving back to second base, and Bryan Reynolds with a clever no-trade list. Hot Corner powered by Next Playground. You got to get the console and check it out. We'll talk more about it coming up. They've got a new home run derby game. But let's start with Jazz Chisholm moving back to second base. Aaron Boone said it's done. He played third for a while since he was back from the IL. He was training all offseason for second base, which is a more natural position for him. He played a lot of third last year. It was okay. The athleticism was shown, but the inexperience was also there. And again, this year, he's a negative defender by metrics. So he's very vocal. He likes to talk, AJ, and he did say that he was expecting to be a second baseman this year. So now they place him back over there. And I will say this, chances are high the Yankees get somebody at third base to make this official and permanent for the rest of the year.
I think the bigger news in this is, yes, Jazz is back at second. He's happy. He can say he's happy at second base. But DJ LeMahieu, what Aaron Boone said about DJ LeMahieu, he basically said, nope, he ain't going to play third base for sure, and we don't know where else. So that, to me, is almost a bigger story than Jazz Chisholm moving back to second base. Yeah, I mean, I know he wants to play second. He's been a second baseman. Remember, the Marlins moved him to center field for a time. The Yankees moved him to third base. He said all the right things. Now he's back at second. Let's see if he can hold down the fort. But third base is a hole now for the Yankees. We'll see who they go out and get.
Does he play third in the All-Star game? I mean, that's what he made the team as. So. You feel like that's okay? Just one game, even though he's super focused on just being a second baseman?
I feel like he'll live. That's okay. He said, I'll give you one or two of the quotes. Everybody knows I'm a second baseman. Of course, I want to play second base, but whatever it takes to help the team win, if that's what the team chooses, that's what I got to do. I don't write the lineups. You feel me? I'm playing every day, so it's hard to be upset. Yes, I know I'm a second baseman. I know I'm better at second base, but at the end of the day, I still have to play third. I just have to deal with it. This was in the past, week or so leading up to the change here. Do you think that he privately started to express that he didn't want to play third base anymore, AJ? I mean, he is, by metrics, by eye test, by everything else, a second baseman over a third baseman. I think that's obvious. Plus, yeah, I mean, he hasn't spent a lot of time at third base. He has been pretty good for the most part, saying he'll do whatever it takes, but I could see him behind the scenes being like, hey, dude, I'm better there, so that helps the team. Plus, for him selfishly, I mean, he gets looked at with defensive metrics, with wins above replacement, and those kind of proprietary metrics that teams hold to try and sum up a player's value, and he gets hurt when he's playing a position that he's not as good at.
Yeah, I think, sure. All the things you just said, Scott, yes. If he's more comfortable at second base, and stick him at second base and hope that he goes out and does the best he can. But again, this brings back the hole at the third base for the Yankees. Who do they get? Arenado, Suarez. I mean, there's a list, McMahon. There's a whole list of guys that they could go out and try and get. So that's what's interesting here is who fills this hole when they go out and make a move.
And him coming out and saying this, do you think they wanted to kind of keep this under wraps a little bit? Because aren't trades?
Jazz can't keep anything under wraps. He can't keep anything under wraps.
But I'm saying, like, if you're Brian Cashman, trades and acquisitions and the trade deadline is all about negotiations. That's really one of the reasons it doesn't happen until the trade deadline, because everybody's like, oh, you want our third baseman? We want all 9 of your last first-round picks. No? Okay, we have 30 seconds left to do it. Okay, we'll take your 10th best prospect. This really puts Cashman and the Yankees in kind of a trade acquisition, like negotiation corner, because now they're like, you don't even have a third baseman. Hi, we're the Rockies. We know you love Ryan McMahon. We want the world for him, even though he's hitting .212 this year.
How about Brian Hayes?
If you want defense, and the Pirates ain't paying anything back, so the Pirates would have to buy back. They would have to buy the other prospects because the Yankees are going to be taking on a lot of contract. And I get it, it's defense, but when have the Yankees made – I mean, is that the move? Bolster your offense by bringing in Brian Hayes?
No, I mean, that's not going to bolster the offense unless you think he needs a change of scenery and you can unlock something. He is an elite defender, but I'm just playing to your point of the Yanks not having to give up much. I mean, you'd be giving up money. They're in no short supply of that. So can't you make a case, AJ, that the Pirates would take practically nothing to dump the contract?
You definitely could make that case. I don't know if they'll do it, but you could definitely make that case that the Pirates would like to maybe move on from that. I don't know. How would Pirates fans react to that? That's always my question. They would probably not be very happy if they said, hey, we're trading Brian Hayes for a whole lot of nothing.
I know he's not doing well, but his contract is going the other way, though. A lot of these contracts are back laden. This one is shorter in the back end. He's making less every year. Substantially less every year. I think he made 10 his first year. So cost certainty for the Pirates, I don't know. I don't know where that threshold is. Obviously, they would always love to get money back for anything. Coupon hunting.
Right. I mean, if you look at the numbers this year, now we're deep into the halfway point. What are we, 90-ish games in? 64 OPS plus for Brian Hayes.
Not very good. I don't know if that's bad, but that's not good.
Not a major league bat for the last 2 years now, AJ. Again, unless you think you can resurrect it, he's all defense. It's all glove.
His dad played for the Yankees. Maybe they're hoping that he brings back some of that. He did catch the last out in 96 or 98 World Series, one of them.
Charlie, yeah. 96, I think. 61 OPS plus the year before that for Bryan. I mean, some Yankee fans might be watching right now screaming. I think Pirates fans would be okay at this point because they have to play the budget game. They have to go, okay, if we can clear some of that money, even though the contract is more backloaded, it's a win. He's not been a winning player for the team for the past couple seasons in terms of what he's able to contribute. I mean, it's really below average contributions if you add up what he's doing on offense.
Well, they're not getting Bryan Reynolds. We know that.
Well, let's go to that. So Bryan Reynolds has a no-trade list, and some people don't understand how no-trade lists work. It's a short list for him. He is allowed to put 6 teams on that list. And those 6 teams, per sources from Noah Hiles, who covers the team every day, Yankees, Mets, Blue Jays, Dodgers, Giants, Padres. Why does this make total sense, Erik? And people should shut their trap.
Because they're all good teams. Some of these lists, you can change them partway through the season, halfway through. You can change them. You usually can change them at the beginning of the season. It's because they're all good teams. This gives him the leverage to say, yeah, I'll go to New York. It's not that Bryan Reynolds doesn't want to play in the playoffs. He wants to play in the playoffs. But the leverage for him to say, I'll go to New York or I'll go to the Dodgers comes, okay, well, what else can I get? Can I get an extra year? Can I get my player option declined on the end of the contract? Can I get it picked up automatically? It gives him so much. It gives him so you don't put crappy teams on there because you're not blocking a trade to a crappy team because a crappy team's never trading for Bryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Like guys used to do this all the time, 10 teams. Plus Bryan Reynolds is from, he's from the Nashville area. So if you notice, he wants to stay in the middle. He doesn't want to go to the coast. Fine. He clearly doesn't want to go to California. And he doesn't want to go to New York and Toronto. I get it. Guys have no trade clauses, and they pick teams for all kinds of crazy reasons. Teammates would pick it because they didn't like the city, they didn't like the hotel, they didn't like the food, they didn't like this, they didn't like that. I mean, guys have all kinds of crazy. But if they're smart about it, they pick the teams that could possibly trade for them, and then they get something back. And that's exactly what Kratz is saying. They can get money, they can get this, they can get that, and then it's all a new negotiation when those things come up. Look at Nolan Arenado. He has the no trade clause. Guess where he still is? He's still in St. Louis because he has the full no trade, and he's not waiving it to go to Houston.
Wait, so I'll put this out there. I believe that Bryan Reynolds would give a resounding yes to all 6 of those teams on the no trade list if they covered the tax dollar difference.
Yes, that's the negotiation.
That's it. Okay, I'm going to explain it nice and simple, and this is the job of the agency. Brian, you play in Pennsylvania. Kratz, do you know it off the top of your head, or should I make up a number 6%. For the state tax rate? What 6%
is it? plus the city tax. They have the Pittsburgh city tax.
So let's say it's 8-ish for his local tax number. Okay. Sure. 8-ish%. Do we know what it is in New York City and in Los Angeles? About double that or close to it if you're in that tax bracket. Cool.
It's 13 to 15. Yeah.
Okay. And then Toronto, same story. You get taxed hardcore. We are not telling you this to be foofy, bougie. Oh, here's how money works, and this is how guys get around taxes. No. He signed a contract with a team in Pennsylvania. They do the math on how much income he will make post-tax. If he gets traded to one of those teams, which if he didn't have a no-trade clause could happen, he can lose millions of dollars. This is just common sense business. Anyone that's trying to maximize their value during a short playing career would do the same thing. He can then go to his organization, Pittsburgh, and say, okay, I will go to that team. I'm happy to go to a team that is a contender you need to pick up the tax number because I agreed to a certain number here. So let's say it's a few $1,000,000 for the rest of the contract. You need to pick that up for me, and then I will happily waive that. It is that simple. He picked teams that tax you hardcore, right? Both New York teams, LA, San Francisco's in California, so is San Diego, and Toronto's in Canada. Boom. He picked the high tax brackets. That's what pisses me off, and I think you felt the same way, Kratz. He is not trying to avoid going to a contender. I think he would be happy to get himself out of Pittsburgh. He has been part of losing his entire career at this point, right?
Yep, 100%.
Okay. So I think it could happen. And if a team does want him and thinks that, this has just been a little bit more of a down year for him, but he's a really solid all-around player with all the tools, then they go for it. All right, that's it for Hot Corner. It is powered by Next Playground, and you can get yourself 20% off Next Playground, a $50 savings in celebration of Amazon Prime Day. You can play over 45 games. They come out with about 20 games per year. Fruit Ninja is on there. It's the best version of it out there. And Home Run Heroes Star Strikers is their Home Run Derby anime game, which we're going to show you early next week. Here is a little sneak peek of what Next Playground looks like.
Even summer needs a backup, a pal, a little sidekick in the good kind of chaos. The kind of partner that turns living rooms into playgrounds and reminds us what our bodies and our hearts were made for. Play that moves you.
What's up, my people of FT, all my gamblers of FT Nation? What's happening? It's your boy Parlay Pap coming to you from South Mississippi. Man, we sweating it out today, boys. Hot. But we're going to stay hot just like I am on them parlays, but not today. No parlay today. Listen, anytime Sandy Alcantara is getting plus money and he's on the bump, you got to take it. Putting 100 on the Marlins in the money line today. Let's get that cheese.
Oh, Pap's getting his little workout on. Good for you, Pap.
He might just be sitting outside. Yeah, he just want to be sitting outside. As hot as it is, it's like a sauna down there.
The sip in the summer. Gotta love it. I'll go Pirates Royals under 8.5. It's at -110. I'll go 110 to win a hundo. Chris Bubic against Bailey Falter. Two names that are not well known nationally, but both have been pitching really well. Bubic is a 2.36 on the season. He's been fantastic. Pirates really struggle against left-handed pitching, especially away from home. And Bailey Falter has a mid-threes ERA this season. 3 earned runs, or just 3 runs or less in 11 of his last 12 starts. And Kansas City's offense on the season has been abysmal. That's why they're in the spot that they're in. So I think we stay under that 8.5 mark to get ourselves a dub. There are your picks for the night. No matter where the action is, BetMGM can supercharge the odds on your next sports bet. Use an odds boost token if you've got one to boost your potential payout from a winning bet. That's what Kratz just did. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. When we come back, AJ has been waiting 2 hours to ask us his question of the day, and the floor will be his coming up next. righty, let's slap. I forgot Kratz hats yesterday, so do that real quick for us, and then AJ, get ready to load up with your question.
Real quick, Diamondbacks. I mean, it pops everywhere. I didn't wear it to the Red Sox game last night because I think that's weird when people wear different teams' uniforms to games or hats to games. Like, neither of those teams are playing, so don't wear a different hat.
There you go. AJ, you're up.
All right. So yesterday we had a conversation with Bruce Meyer, and a friend of mine texted me this about a signing deadline. What if they incentivize teams by saying if you sign a guy before Thanksgiving, let's say you don't have to pay 50% of that towards the competitive balance tax. It gets to Christmas, it goes down to 75%, and then et cetera, et cetera. And then by the time you get to February 1st, then 100% goes towards competitive balance tax. I think that's kind of a good idea. It incentivizes smaller market teams to sign guys earlier in the free agent thing, and plus it gives them a reason to sign guys. Bruce passed this on. He raised that the other day. They absolutely said no. They said it was DOA on arrival. But I thought that was kind of a cool idea.
Wait, that would help big market teams, not small market teams.
Yeah, but it also gets signings, but it also helps small market teams too, because small market teams could jump in maybe a little bit later when there's some guys, or jump in early if they want. And I thought it was a good idea.
I don't think it's a good idea. I think incentivizing teams to sign early with draft picks is fair for all. If you're saying it's going to help you with the CBT, that only helps the teams that dance around the CBT.
That get that.
Okay. I just thought it was an inventive idea and something that both sides could agree to, but apparently it was shut down by the owners' DOA.
Well, think about it. Most of the owners are cheap, so they're not going to do anything that's going to prevent. Basically, it hurts their soft salary cap, which is their CBT, which punishes the big market teams. The picks is the way to go. Hey, if you sign guys early, we'll give you comp picks. Teams love picks. That's the way to do it. But again, they'll never do that because they only want it to be created to punish, not to incentivize. Punish is nothing can happen after this point. Incentivize is let's promote these things happening beforehand. It's that simple. They just don't want it to be for the good of the game.
True. Agreed. I just thought it was a cool idea. Sorry, Scott.
Well, do you like the picks better?
I mean, I like anything that incentivizes teams to sign guys. Yes, for more money. I like anything that incentivizes teams to spend their money that they're just putting in their pocket.
Giving a crap helps. That usually helps. But
true.
I advise everyone to listen to the combo yesterday. It was really insightful.